All right, this class is on manipulating stitches to get a certain pattern. And Kim asked me to do something advanced, and I thought, okay, what's advanced? And I had been looking at this pattern. It's from a flatbed manipulating stitch book. And I've been thinking about this for a couple of months, and I thought, this will be a good time to start. So I came up with this. Let's see if you can see it. And it's just, you're just moving one stitch to another and closing up a lace stitch. And the way I have it is it's the cuff or the leg is the pattern's all the way around. See if you can see it there. And then at the foot, the pattern continues on down the foot. And I wanted this edging that goes down here to be continuous all the way to the toe. So there was a special way that I added my needles. You should have your pattern here. And this circular template was made by Steve Ashton. I use his cylinder, I don't know what you call these things, graph things, all the time. If I'm trying to figure out a pattern that I need to fit on a certain cylinder, that's what I did. And you'll notice that I have mine divided evenly in quarters. So the center rib of this scallop, I wanted in the center, going down the center of my leg. So that's where this starts right here. That the green, to me, was telling me those are the center of each corner. 12 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 3 o'clock. And the orange dots you'll see are ribs. So this sock is done from cuff to toe with the ribber on. Okay. Yeah. And this chart will tell you where, I'm sorry, the oranges aren't the rib. The dash is the rib. The orange is at the end of each scallop. It tells me where to begin and where to stop. And also, any questions about that before I begin? Okay. Making this pattern to me is something that you need to concentrate on and not have any distractions, quiet place, for me anyway. I get very distracted for anything, including my own thoughts. My husband calls it chasing butterflies. So I compensate my brain with marking my cylinders with colored needles. I don't know if you can see. Here's one. The tip is orange. It's orange there. That's the beginning and end of a scallop. And there's a green, I don't know if you can see it over here. There's a green one there. So those are color tips of your needles. Just take some fingernail polish.
Color your cylinder, depending on the project, if you like.
The cylinder?
Yeah, you take polish off and then you color depending on what project you're doing.
Not on the cylinder. It's on the tips of the needles. Here, I'll raise this one. Can you see that?
Yeah.
That's orange. And then this one is green. That's the center.
Now that's
How do you mark that? Do you use like a,
Nail polish.
so if you do use nail polish and then don't pay any attention to those if you're not using that pattern? I mean, or do you use a different needle?
Oh, I take them out. Yes.
Okay.
If there's a colored needle in there and I'm doing another project, I'm like, yeah,
You just have extra needles marked at different colors, like.
I
And then
do.
you can put, when you're doing that one, you get, I need the orange one.
Yes.
Okay.
There's this little thing called a Q-tip dispenser you can get on Amazon for like $8, and it's a tube, and you pop the top, and it pops up, and that's where you're supposed to get your Q-tips out. There's a section of 4 of them, and I use that for my colored.
Okay.
I was going to bring it and I forgot it, but and you just smack it back down and it closes up. So, it keeps your colored needles there. And anyway, you only paint the top of the hook, not underneath. Okay, that was one way to help my brain. The other way is I have this, I don't know if I can put it on here. This is a magnetic board, and I will take this ruler that came with it, and it will show, let's see if I can put it up here.
How close can you get to the machine without magnetizing your needles? Doesn't make me nervous.
It doesn't bother me a bit. I've never had a problem. So there's line number 1, so that shows where I'm at. So I'll go around and have 1, and because I can't remember that you're supposed to close when you move a stitch, you're supposed to close that row. So I add a blank row, tells me I just need to go around once more. So once I've finished that, I'll go to the next one. It shows where I've been, what I'm working on, and where I need to go next. This is just a thing that helps me. I don't know if it helps y'all, but helps me. That's it. Okay. I have already set up my machine, and I've already done a 1-by-1 cast on. You can do any cast on you want, but I like 1-by-1, and the rib. So I've already done one row of scallops, so I'm back on to row 1. And the way this machine is, you have to stop at a certain point before you continue on to the next scallop. Stop at 10 o'clock after you've gotten your ribber on and you've gotten all your colored needles in. Stop around 10, 11 o'clock. Your stitches are going to be moved from the outside of your pattern, the orange, towards the center. So we're moving one stitch to another, and that's going to give you that scallop edge that goes up like this. Can you see what I'm doing? You just grab it. Oh, this tool will be your best friend.
Yeah.
This is the end that you want. Get several of these, have them on hand. So you just take one stitch. According to the pattern, I need to get to, I should show that on here too. If you look at the pattern, the zeros, not zeros, there's the circle with an X. That is telling me that's where I want to move. We're going to go from the center and move out because you're moving each of these stitches over one. And then you're going to end up with a hole there, which is fine, but if you want to close it, which we're going to do with that, see that line there? It tells you to close it. You're going to use the bump of a previous stitch. So we're just going to move all the needles this way, one at a time, all the needles this way, and continue on.
So when you fill in the empty one, you're gonna take the bump from the
Yeah.
adjacent,
You're
you
gonna-
didn't move, and pop it onto the.
That's correct. I'll show you when we get there. And let me finish this before you ask any
Sorry.
questions. Well, like I said, my mind's going to go somewhere else. And if you ask me a question, I'm going to wonder why I'm here. So I've already moved one stitch. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I am on my last one for this side. I always start from the left and move towards the right. Now, this needle is empty, as you can see. It's empty. We're going to take this cylinder needle. Whoops. Can you see that bump I'm grabbing right there?
Yeah.
It's the pearl side bar, and you're going to move it over to the green to fill it. And you'll end up, you can't really see it, maybe you can see it on the, like a little figure 8 that tells you that that needle has been filled. So in my head, to keep myself sane, this is how I do it. 1, 2, well, where is it? There it is. 2, 3, whoops, 3, 4, 5, and then I say fill, because I will forget. And then that's my first scallop. There's 4 on here, so I'll go forward, and I'll continue with the rest. You have to move them from the center out. 1, can you see that?
Yeah.
1, my hand's got to be in the way, sorry. 2, 3, 4, 5, and close. I have a sample over here where you will find what happens when you don't close one of the stitches. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and fill. Can you see where I'm filling it from? Awesome. Okay, I forgot to put this, this is row 1. So I'm going to set my row counter to 0. So when I get down to back around, I'll have a 1 here. It says I'm finished with that 1 row. So the second one, now we're going to do the third one. Come on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and fill. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, fill. Now this last one, we're still on row 1. You need to stop around 12 o'clock or you will not be able to get to this side. This pattern is also, I'll stop right here and show this, is really nice to do just 1 row down the center of your leg, just by itself. This is 1 that I just made a jar cover, and these where I did not fill in the hole, so it gives you a little bit of a lace. I will. Well, I am not good at this, am I? Thank you. See? And this is the green needle that you see, that you want to up through the cuff. And I'll pass this around. Do someone come get it?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, I still have not finished. My row counter is still at 0. That's telling me I'm not finished with row 1. So I'm going to do the last scallop. When you start doing this, as you go down your leg, you'll get faster at it. But I timed myself when I was faster at it. It took me 10 minutes to do one row of 11, 11 rows of one complete scallop pattern all the way around. So if you do, took me 10 minutes and I did 6 of those scallops, it took a sock, but it was worth it, I think.
It takes me 2 hours to do a flying saucer. If I can find it, it takes me 2 hours to do that.
And 5. And fill. All right, so I just completed row 1. And now my yarn carrier tells me I did that. Now I'm going to move to row 2, and it's just a knit around. And I stop. See, I finished row 2. Now I'm on row 3, and it starts at where I'm at, the 6 o'clock. And before I went to 5 stitches out. Now I want to do 4 stitches out. That gives you that groove up. This takes a while, so we may not finish the whole thing. But I wanted to show you how to do the heel with the ribber on, if anyone was interested. Okay, so I have an empty needle at 4. I'm going to take the bar from the orange needle, that stitch number 5, and bring it over and close it. Do it on the second side. I'll stop here and ask if anyone has any questions. Am I dropping stitch?
No, I would.
Oh, I have.
How in the world would I go fish for that?
Anybody have a question like drop stitch?
And so I was saying, I would be fearful that I would rather stitch, because I'm sure I will.
Well, the funny thing is I have dropped them often. And I don't know if it's because of where my ribber is or if it's the pattern, but it ends up stopping this. You can catch the stitch. It's just hanging there. So I immediately grab the weights with my knees and lift up, and then I'm able to grab that loop and put it back on. Now, if it drops all the way down, I have to start over. Another question?
You take, just to specify, you take the purl from this, there's the empty needle, and you take the purl from the stitch next to the empty needle. And put it on
To the right or the left? Yes.
Yes, so it's, okay.
So if you're moving the stitches to the right, you want the stitch to the left to fill, use it. And when stitch is going to the left, you're going to use the right needle. And then you have that purl. You don't take it from the ribber needle. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay, so there's that. And we'll go on. Do you want me to show you how to do the ribber with the, okay, so I'm gonna finish this row, and we're gonna pretend like I just finished the whole scallop. Okay, so this is 4 again. 1, 2. Do you want to I should show these. Who wants to come get these? These were both done on 72. Here's another one. This is the one, it's I Spy the Mist closing of the hole. I spy a hole. Okay, so I forgot where I was. There I am. So I've moved my stitches from the left to the right. So I'm going to get the bar from the left stitch and close that open needle, or not close it, fill it. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then get the bar and close it. One, 3, 2, 3, and 4. And close. All right. This is kind of hard to explain. On your pattern, we're going to pretend that we have finished however many scallops rows you want to do on your leg. I think I did 6 on those orange ones. I'm not sure. When you are wanting to continue that pattern on down your foot, you don't have to, but if you want to, like I did, you're going to continue it down. That means that this design needs to continue over your instep. So the best way I found to do it is you get to the spot where you have completed your scallops up to, this is a 10 rows, 11 rows, I think. You want to get to row 11, and let's say you just finished row 11, which is an odd number. So basically, I'm getting ready to do an odd number, a finished odd, which is transferring the stitches, okay? You're going to stop at 12 o'clock, finish your row that you're going to do. I'm just going to say we finished this row, this last scallop we finished. Now you're going to transfer. You know what, I don't have any extra needles. Whoops. I didn't bring them.
You're transferring to do the heel.
Yes, what you're going to do is, thank you,
How many do you want?
8. I'm sorry. Well, we can have questions now. No, that might be a good idea. I've never used a lifeline. You add ravel cord in just one row. Like you'd finish to finish the scallop, it's 11 rows. So at 12 rows, you would put that lifeline in with, is that correct?
You sew it through each stitch.
Or you sew it there, you don't,
No,
you crank it in there.
That's the safest way, because otherwise, lifeline might come up.
That might be a better way to ask someone else, because I've never used it. But what happens is if you've messed up, that lifeline will stop all the stitches to that point.
Yeah, but then how do you?
You have to rehang.
Well, then, well, you can rehang that point because you have the line in there that lets you pop it on.
Those mine? Thank you.
so.
I hope so. I recognize this.
Okay, they look, they have like in your pile.
You should do a class on this, because I heard people doing the same lifeline, and I'm like, how does that even work on a machine?
Okay, does everyone know how to transfer the river needles to the cylinder needles? Okay, so you only want to do it on the half that you're going to do your heel. So there's 4. With this design, if you carry it over the foot, you cannot do a deep heel because it will really mess up your design, the pattern. If you'll notice here, I've got extra colored needles in here. This will really mess me up if I continue with it. All right, so I've finished row, what did I finish? Row 3. Okay, 11. So I finished an odd number. So I'm going to stop at 6 o'clock. First thing I'm going to do is take this peg out, the pin for the river, or you can switch your in out to out. Either way, you got to remember either to put this pin in or put the tab back into in
So
work.
that does the same thing?
It does the same thing. If you had a crescent rule, I like to do a deep heel, and I can't do that with this because of the design. So what I do is, raise what you want out of work from your heel.
You missed one back there.
Oh, I see it. Thank you. Some of you will take your last, when you're doing your heel at the end, wrap that last needle on each side. Or some of you will instead of doing, you'll have one extra needle that you decreased, but on the way back, you don't increase it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is my halfway point here at 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock. And what I do is I take one needle past that and I put that into work, but I decrease it, but I don't increase it on the way back. The reason why you need to do this on an odd number is because when you're done, let's say you're on row 11 and you're done with your heel, you want that solid row going 12 to go around so that you're not moving those wrap stitches. Does that make sense at all? Okay, so I have my needles out of work. I have my heel forks on. I really like doing the heels this way. I rib my husband's socks to the toes. They're fully ribbed. And this just so much easier for me. It takes a little while to get used to it because your river's on. And it's not easy to see all the needles, but once you've got it, you got it. So you do it just like a normal heel. It's just your river is on. You raise all the way to the turning point. See how fast it goes? The main thing you need for this did not. Who didn't tell me I left that needle down there?
Oh, we're sorry.
It's okay. That really messed, I've done this often,
Yeah, we're
so.
not watching you, I'm watching the screen, you can't see it. Yeah.
So it's, I can't do this heel, but I'm gonna go ahead and pass it down this way. We're gonna just pretend. This is a sample. It doesn't matter if I messed it up so bad. I just hope you all understand what I'm doing. But I don't know if they can see this. But y'all can? Is it caught there? Okay. The main thing you need to know is to get all these needles up, one, and two, you need a well-timed machine.
Is there really on speed dial?
I'm sorry, what?
Is there really on speed dial? So we can ask for help?
He might be. I need to put this up so I don't catch it again. And this is a hot mess now.
Yeah, we don't have anything that looks like that.
No.
Ever.
And you just keep going to your markings that you have for your heels. And I raise up 2 needles at the turning point so that my heels do not have dog ears. Now this 72 has the shell pattern. I just raised 2 here to make the rounded toe. And that one didn't knit, so I have to get that done. Raise those 2. There. On the 72 cylinder, you got 4 scallops around the cylinder, and you'll have a knit, I have a purl, knit 3, and a purl. Those 3 knits you can actually cable, 2x1 cable. That makes a nice decorative pattern, and that's, I didn't make that, but it's in here if you want to try it. Here's the pattern. And it looks really, really nice. And I didn't mention this before, but this is a cuff down. You just go all the way back. To where you need to stop. And I'm probably not going to be able to go all the way around because I messed here. So I'm going to just pretend I'm at the halfway marks. And I've gone all the way down. And I'm not going to knit this last one. I mean, I'm not going to decrease it or increase it. So I'm going to turn those 2 down at the same time and start knitting. Did I say that right? Okay. You're going to lower all your stitches, all your needles. And then what do I need to do?
And you're,
I'm going to put your pin back in. And then you're ready to go. But I'm kind of messed up over here, so I don't know what it's going to do. It might. There we go. Ah, okay, so notice I didn't have to move any stitches up in the front because I was on that even row where I wasn't manipulating stitches. Now, you're going to start all your scallops on the front half, not on the back at all. So that's the bottom of your foot. You don't want that pattern on the bottom of your foot. So, and the 3 o'clock and the 9 o'clock green needles are the stitches that give you that nice crisp edge down the side of your foot. And you just continue on. You have to you have to remember what row you're on when you're getting back on your heel. And I think I gave you a graph on showing you how to do that, the top half. So instead of moving the 3 o'clock and the 9 o'clock from both directions, you're only going to do it from the top part. So you're only going to do half of it. So you'll have half a scallop on the right, a half a scallop on the left side, and a full scallop at the top of your foot. And you can see that on the orange and gray socks that I have passed around. I forgot where we were, but I'm starting over. And that's it. It takes some practice. It took me a while to get the hang of it. And if anybody has any questions, you may ask. The pattern name is called Homecoming, and it will be available on Erlbacher website if it's not there already. It's free. So,
You mentioned you could cable the two, you didn't have ribbons.
yes, let me see if I can do that. I'm all thumbs when it comes to cables. So, with this cable, I have to think the pattern's going down, and I wanted the cables to go towards the, I want them to go towards the scallops. So what I did was, let me think this through. You have to lift the first cable. Here's the cable, these three. You've got, I'm going to turn into cables. You remove, I'll have to go over here. First of all, you got to do this, the spring extender. So when I'm doing the top part and I'm doing this pattern, normally I would have stopped over here, but I didn't know I was going to do a cable today. You're going to take first one out and you're going to lay it over to the side like that, off to the side. You're going to raise these two. Can you see that? Okay. You're going to pinch them. Well, that didn't work. See how I'm on thumbs? And just move them over. And I think I got these backwards. Okay? And you take this one. I think I got that backwards, but I have to.
So this one is 4. But this is from, take the 2 in the back and put them over there, and then take these 2 and slide them in front of the other 2.
Yeah.
Okay?
And then you go around, according to my pattern, you go around 4 times. But you're still gonna follow the pattern. You've got row 1, cable. So according to this, you have a cable, and you still have to follow the pattern, and then another cable. When you go around, you have to continue the pattern, 4 rows, and then a cable again, and continue the pattern. and it will come around, and it looks real pretty.
So the
You
two,
might want another counter.
I don't do 2x2 on this one.
yeah, I understand, but you've got a cable on either side of this pad.
Mhm.
So the two cables
Are gonna face,
aim into the pad, right? So the twists are opposite, right?
correct.
Okay.
So you have, I think I show that here. No, I don't. Do I? Yes. So see how it's facing that way and that way? It looks like you're knitting them out. But we got to remember that this is a cuff up. So if you turn it around, you're going to see that the cables are going towards the design. Whoops. Now, of course, you may want it to go in the opposite direction, which is just fine too.
Or they come up with the same, yeah.
Yep. And oh, and when you're done with your cable, I would have done the cables on both sides if I had known I was going to do this. I do those first, and then I put the spring back on, and then I move my stitches. I've tried it the other way. We don't want to do that. No, it's not. And make sure that the shanks of your needles are back in the groove where they need to be. Because this morning, my machine locked up because I didn't notice that one of these shanks was sticking out and got stuck. So those are fun things you need to keep your eyeballs on. Okay, any other questions? The jar cover or a cup cozy, right, are easy projects to try. Just short little things. I should have done that first. I didn't. I did over and over again. So that's easy to do. You could do it up. I did figure out that if you're doing a fingerless glove, you can do that. You just need to move your stitches like 2 or 3 stitches beyond the gusset so that's down the center. I do know that if you do this, for me, the shell, if you do the shell or scallops and the cuff, the cables are too wide for the glove. For my hands anyway.
Yeah.
I like the pattern. You can do a lot of things. On the 64, I increased it from 5 stitches to change to 6. And that worked well, except I like to have my rib at the cuff to match my ribs down the leg. That doesn't work very well on the 64, so you might have to manipulate the stitches to where you want them. They just may not. See how I've got, this is the ribbing. Ooh. That's the ribbing of my cuff, and it goes straight down to the ribbing of the scallop. That's kind of hard to do with the 64. So you may have to manipulate your stitches a little bit. You could do a mock rib, but it doesn't make your scallops or your cables pop. That's what I call it, pop. So yeah,
Lycra.
no.
Because I'm sitting here thinking I would have to take the socks apart so many times, I don't think I can do it with Lycra.
Well, practice with some inexpensive yarn first. You don't have to have lycra in it to practice, right? Or do you?
No.
We can. I don't use lycra, but I'm pretty sure you could do it with lycra.
Yes.
Yeah, at first, until you can do it, and then do it like that.
Yeah, just taking it apart and you have to pull it out with it, and with Lycra is not a
I would practice without it on a cup cozy or just a tube, and you'll get faster at it. This pattern looks great on bright and light colors, not so well on very dark, unless you want to just see the holes.
Well, like cable. You need some-
Yes,
Perfect.
exactly.
To show up the shadows.
And
Have
I,
you ever done it without the ribbon, like just a plain sock without the river and done the design? Is that possible?
you could, it kind of disappears.
I was thinking, you know, they do the mock rib. I'm thinking I'm gonna go back and do one, instead of having the pearl stitch, I'll just leave that one empty and so that would give it, I'm gonna do the lacy one, so more holes are not gonna matter.
Right. I'm not sure how you would do this part. I guess this would be, I'm sorry. Yeah. So this is a knit stitch. So you'd need that.
Right,
And then off to the side is the purl.
right. So those will be like ladder
Yes.
stitches instead of pearls.
Just make sure you have that knit right there on the
On the
side.
edge.
That's to the left and right of that orange. So that's part of the pattern.
Right.
I have not tried the mock rib, but I think you can do it.
I think it'd be better than trying to use a river right off the bat.
It'll give you practice moving the stitches,
Yeah.
and then one day you'll do this. Because I think everybody should do something like this with the river on. Thank you.